important to you when you want to travel somewhere? For example, when you decide to travel to go somewhere, is there anything that you really think about, and say, okay, this is really important to me? It can be like people's culture or something like economy or I don't know, so Asian or European country. So which one?
Yeah, when I have a lot of things to prepare for trip. First of all, I have to look for the place that I will go, and I uh, I will looking for I will look for a hotel near that place, um, and then um, I must look for the means of transport to go from this place to another place,
Yeah.
and um, book air ticket, and I have to book the train ticket too.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course. So the first thing that you think about is the place. For example, I'm going to travel somewhere, but I don't know if it's better to travel to the US or Switzerland or, for example, China or other countries. So what is really important to you to choose something, for choosing somewhere to go?
yeah, the sense, the beautiful sense there.
Of course. So nature and beauty, of course.
Yeah,
So
but
natural beauty is really, so you can say that natural attractions, natural attractions are really, of course, it means, the place should be beautiful. So maybe beautiful nature. So natural attraction is really important to you. Yeah, of course. So because of this, you decided to go there. And but one of my students sent me some photos from China. It's a beautiful country. I didn't know, but that's really the beautiful country. So some beautiful green places, and everywhere was really green and beautiful. So maybe later, one day I will travel to China if I can. So
yeah,
maybe it's good.
but
But
these are a lot of things you have to consider.
oh, why? Because I don't know anything about this country. So why?
First of all, the language, because Chinese people they cannot understand when you speak English.
Oh,
Their English is awful.
so of course, so I can't travel. So I need, I need to have one of my students as leader. So I'm traveling. So please help
The
me.
second one, the
Yeah.
second one is uh, the smell of restroom. It's really terrible.
Why?
Yeah, some restroom is built by granite. It's very beautiful.
Ah,
The smell, I don't know why. The smell
oh,
when you 10 meters from the restroom,
oh.
you can
Smell
uh,
it. You can, yeah, you
yeah.
can get the smell. Oh,
Do not need to see the direction. You just smell and you know where is it.
wow. And everywhere,
Terrible.
actually everywhere in this, everywhere.
Yes, everywhere, especially uh, the two the famous place for the tourists.
Oh, oh, I didn't know. So you traveled there.
I I studied in China.
Oh,
Yeah.
you started. So you know everything. Okay, so tell me everything about China. So I didn't know because, of course, I never asked my students, something like this. But, something that I could get from the photo, from the picture was, really beautiful place to visit. But when you say, oh, so they don't understand. And This is a bit weird because normally people out around the world, not all the people, but maybe a few of them. So when you see some people, of course, in the city, on the street, or everywhere, maybe few people can understand English and can speak English, not very fluently, but of course acceptable. But that's really interesting. It's because they are racist. They only think about, it's because of this, or no, just they don't like to, because I have lots of students from China. So I've had, from the past, since past to present, but uh, are they racist? You think they don't like to learn other languages except their
Ye-
mother tongue?
Yes, because they think they are the heart of the world. Yeah,
Oh,
because just what is the name of China? China in um the name, that name mean the heart of the world.
China.
Yeah,
Oh, so they think that they
I,
are.
yes. That's why
Wow.
they don't need to learn another language. That's
Wow.
their English is terrible.
Of course. Wow, thank you. Thank you for giving me this information. I didn't know anything about China, but you live there and you know everything about that country. So, but it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful. Yeah, so wow. And tell me about food. So tell me about cuisine, Chinese cuisine. So tell me, delicious or no, something that we can't try?
Yeah. According to me, because we have to talk about the Chinese culture. It's divided into different regions. Therefore, the south of China mm, is, I think, the dishes of them is really fantastic. Yeah,
Ah,
when I come to a restaurant, I must look for that word, the north, the south of China, and if
ah,
they have that word, I will come in. If not, because they divide it into no, Guangzhou. Guangzhou is the best. The dishes of Guangzhou is the best. But
ah,
there are different kind of restaurant. It's from Fujian, Xinan, Beijing, Shanghai, different regions.
ah,
And
of-
each regions, the taste of the dishes is quite different.
ah, of
But
course.
only, I think, only the Guangzhou, if you see that word in front of the restaurant,
Ah,
you can come in.
yeah, of course. I heard one of my students, yeah, actually lives in south of China. So Guangdong, like something like this, Guangdong.
Yes,
Yeah,
that.
of course.
uh,
I know, and I heard that, he told me that, for example, they normally drink tea. Actually special kind of tea. They normally drink tea, and for example, if you travel there, actually as their guest, of course they serve some different type of teas, special, something like different tea and cups of tea. So it's something like, maybe they have, I don't know, herbal tea, something like, cups of herbal tea. I'm not sure, but I heard that, they have special, kind of drink, that is different from north of China. It's absolutely different from north of China.
mm. Yeah, tea is very good for the health, and that's why mm, most of Chinese are
Ah,
sick,
of
are
course, of
too
course.
fat. Mm.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So, thank you. But they have some strict rules. I know. because, for example, they can't use Skype. So I use another actually application, as I told you, remember, for example, Classin and all the application to teach my Chinese students. So they are not allowed to use Skype, or for example, they are not allowed to use Google or some other applications.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you come to China,
Yeah.
you cannot use Google. Cannot use Google and some other like Facebook. No Facebook, no Google. Yeah.
Wow. So it's weird. I don't know, before this, I thought that it's a country like we hear about it. Oh, North Korea. So I heard some news about North Korea, and I thought that, oh, this country is really strange. But I think no, about China, somehow, not exactly, but somehow they are the same. In some ways they are the same. So North Korea and China, so strict rules, and I think government controls everything, all
Yeah.
people lives. Yeah, of course. So I think it's hard to leave there. Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't lived, but I can't say anything about it. But you lived and you know. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your information with me. Thank you. It was really useful.
You're welcome.
Okay. Today you taught me lots of things. Okay, well, and now actually our discussion is related to the topic that we're going to discuss today. So, Fraser, for asking information, when I want to ask you, some information about something, of course, it can be about price or, for example, about product. So they're different. So the first thing, for example, if you want to ask for information, what do you say? So normally what do you say?
What kind of information?
For example, you want to ask for address.
Hello, excuse me. Maybe. Ah. I would like to go to display, but I don't know whether it's still far from here. Could you please help me?
Of course, that's great. Yeah, of course. So it can be really good. Now let's start with this topic, maybe asking for address or somewhere. Okay, so excuse me is good. Excuse me, can or could? You know that we use could to make our statement polite. So say, excuse me, could you tell me how to get to somewhere, to, for example, this restaurant, how to get to, for example, bus station, how to get to somewhere. Okay, so the first phrase, let me write. Okay, excuse me, tell me how to get, for example, to the bus station. Or you have a map. For example, I have a map. Can you show me on the map? For example, I'm looking for this place. So can you or could you show me on the map, please? If you have a map, for example. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't think this sentence is useful now, because
it is. Of course it
we
is,
are
because phones.
in the map.
Yeah, let me say something. Of course, we use maps on the phone. So of course we have navigation, and you know that we use maps on the phone. So for example, sometimes you need to show the map, okay, on your phone to someone. Okay, for example, we normally use this. So of course you use Google, and so it's okay. But sometimes, if there is no internet, and for example, something like this, just this. But of course, as you said, really is. And another one that is really maybe informal, common. So you can say, excuse me, do you know where, for example, this restaurant is? So
Yeah, but because thanks to the Google Map, now we do not need to ask the information. The
I was I was
direction.
teaching, yeah, I was teaching to one of my students and I said, okay, tell me if someone asks you for information for an address, what you say. And he said, okay, I say just search, okay, Google Map, use Google Map. I say, okay, that's great, thank you. So that's a great, okay, you can check your phone and you can search on Google Map, of course. So do you know where, for example, where, I don't know, these places, for example, where the police station is? Okay, so here, in this question, actually, you know the name of place, but you don't know how to actually go there. So it's good to ask. So where, of course, it's really normal. We normally and or how far. So this one is, of
Yeah.
course, again, we have Google Maps, so we don't need how far.
So I think we should ask something like where is the restroom, or where is
Of
the
course,
cashier? Yeah.
of course. Or for example, how far is it, I don't know, for example, how far is it to the restroom? How far is it, for example, to the beach? How far is it from here? So you can ask. So how far is it to the, I don't know, beach, for example, from here? Let me put this here. Okay. Well, so this. So actually, this some varies, and for example, something like this, we normally some normal phrases, questions that we normally, and the answers. For example, okay, someone, could you tell me how to get to the bus station? Yes, of course. For example, let me show you, and something like, and you can answer with yes and no, so it's not something that we normally, I don't know, it's something weird about it. So, okay, and now when you ask for some information, for example, on a product, okay, in this, okay, or for example, about a product, okay? For example, could you give me some information, okay, on this product? Or for example, could you give me some more information on this product? So when you ask for some information about something, like for example, a product, so you can say, could you give me some, or can be some more? For example, you ask for information and you need more. Say some more information on this, for example, and this on, okay, this product. Or can you tell me about this product? That is really, really normal. Can you tell me?
Excuse me, teacher Monica. You haven't shared screen yet. I cannot see
Ah,
the.
really? I was typing for myself. I'm so sorry. Okay. I was typing for myself. Ah, no. Oh, sorry. Forgot to share my screen. Okay. And just tell me about this. It's not really good. Tell me is not really good. So it's better to ask a question. Okay. Well, and the answer, for example, this is one of our top brands. So, or for example, it's our best-selling product. It's our best-selling refrigerator. So you can say, can you tell me about this product? And for example, this is the best in its class. So that's really good when you want to talk about, now you need to answer. Someone asks you, for example, I say that, okay, I know that you have good coffee, very excellent coffee in your country. And Yeah, of course. So I want to ask for, information about this coffee. So you want to talk about, you want to tell me about the best coffee in your country. So could you tell me about, the best coffee that you export to other countries?
Yeah, that is doing coffee because my older sister is is a coffee worm.
Oh, wow.
She drink coffee every day.
Ah,
Uh,
of course, we have all of us. All of us. We are, every morning, every noon.
but the
Yeah.
Vietnamese coffee is much uh, strong. Is
Oh,
stronger
yeah.
than Western
Oh,
coffee. Yeah,
so
when
high
I
caffeine. You mean high caffeine?
yes, it's
Ah,
very strong. And she drink the coffee, black coffee without sugar, without milk every
yeah, of
day.
course. Oh, of course. So got it. So you mean that they're strong. So which means, some high caffeine coffee, we say,
Yeah.
or we say, yeah, caffeinated. So let me write this word maybe. So we can say, okay, so this is so caffeinated coffees, okay, or we can say high caffeine. So you mean strong when you say strong, okay, so or high caffeine coffees, okay, like this. So, wow.
Yeah, when I was in China, yeah, some Chinese told me that when I return to my country and I have to come back the
Yeah.
next bring them some Vietnamese coffee and
Yeah.
Vietnamese chili because Vietnamese chili is really, really uh
Spicy, peppery,
yeah,
spicy.
it's
Of
spicy, so
course.
spicy.
Strong, of course, got it. Wow. So you have, I can say strong taste. So you have strong taste in your country. And let me say something. You said something about your sister, coffee worm. But for something, it's something when something turns into addiction that you normally you do it every day. It's something like addiction. Uh, use something more. We say holic. So you can say coffee holic. So coffee holic. Okay, let me put it. Okay. It means a person who drink coffee, addicted to coffee, so too much coffee every day. So we have, for example, we have workaholic. It means a person who works a lot. And we have alcoholic, a person who addicted to alcohol. So we use holic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you talked about coffee, and that was okay. Very good. Well, and now let's talk about how to answer, for example, this question. So, for example, as I told you, we can say, could you talk about this? And you say, yes, of course. You give me some information and something. Okay. And now, the answers. For example, you want to give me a name, the name of a brand. For example, this is, so you can say, for example, a name, I don't know, or this is, so anything. This is one of, for example, best selling coffees. Okay, so something like this, products or brands or brands. So when you want to talk about the name you want to give, okay? Or for example, in its class, it's very good, it's perfect one, okay? It's excellent, or I highly, when you want to say that this one is really good, I highly recommend this one. You know, I highly recommend this brand of coffee, so because it's really good, so you can say. And of course, if you want to talk about different models, okay, for example, not coffee, something like, for example, computer, excellent computer. Or for example, this model, you want to talk about something like your laptop, or for example, refrigerator, stove, okay? This model comes with several features. For example, smartphone. This model comes with several features. So something like this when you talk about, actually talk on a product. Well, and now you want to ask for information. Okay. How you ask for information? I'm sorry, for price. Is it information? How you ask for price?
Excuse me, how
Yeah.
much the discuss?
How much? How much does it cost? That's great. Okay. But we can also use other phrases. For example, how much does it run? How much is it? How much does it cost? Or what does this sell for? So let me write here the first one. How much is it? So you know I'm not going to write it again. What does this, for example, sell for? It sells for example, 1,000 bucks. Or how much is it? The other one. Or for example, how much does it run? So all of them, you can say, how much does it run? So for example, the answers. What does this sells for? This one, for example, this coffee sells for $1,000 or 1,000 bucks. Or for example, you can say this one goes for, okay? Or this one is priced at. So let me write the answers. You can say this one sells for, okay, you can give the price, or this one goes for, another one goes for, again, price, so another one, and something really normal, this one is priced at, but as I told you before, it depends. So, for example, when you're talking to a friend, you don't need to use these phrases. Of course, just how much is it? I say, okay, for example, 1,000 bucks, just this. So it's formal, especially when you're talking to people who actually you don't have a close relation with. So you need to use formal language, but informal, casual, just give the price. Okay, I think, and then when you want to say that something, for example, is cheap, it's better to say reasonable, not cheap. Cheap is not good. Reasonable price. Okay, or for example, is expensive. It's pricey. Pricey is better than expensive, but we don't say expensive a lot. So pricey is very good. Well, okay. So actually this part is about information, but there are other phrases that when you want to ask for information, other questions. For example, general information. Could you tell me about your, for example, tourist attraction in your country, something like this? So could you tell me about a tourist attraction, the most beautiful tourist attraction in your country? I would like to know more about your country. So this one. Do you know where it is? Do you know what it is? Do you know how much it is? So it's something like good, we say. But this one. Do you have any idea? Do you have any? Oh, what is this? My keyboard is really good keyboard, you know? Okay, so do you have any idea? Do you have any idea about, for example, the best-selling coffee in your country? So the best-selling coffee in your country. Do you have any? What do you think? Okay, so it's better instead of saying what do you think, do you have any idea? It's really good one that you can say. And could now you are in the class. You're talking to students, okay? All of them, a group of people. So could anyone tell me where the most beautiful tourist attraction in Vietnam is? So could anyone tell me? Okay. Or could you tell me? So as I told you, could you tell me? Or do you know? That's really common. And another thing, for example, something formal. I was wondering, for example, if I can take a taxi or I can walk there. So I was wondering if you have any idea about the, for example, this issue. So another, but it's, I don't know, it's a bit formal, so we don't need, okay? Well, and this one is good. Could you give me some idea of, could you give me some idea of the best-selling coffee in your country? So it means, can you talk about it? So different phrases. Or I'm looking for a very beautiful place to visit. So, you know, could you give me some idea of the place? Or for example, something like this. There are different phrases, but you know, too much. You don't need to memorize all of them because you don't use them. Well, and now let's practice. Okay, well, it's your turn. Let's use one or two. You ask me something.
Could you give me some idea of traveling in USA? Because I cannot, I don't know how to drive a car. So I have to use um, any the main public transport.
Of course. So you mean traveling. Okay, traveling. So you mean inside or travel from a different country to my country? So which one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, of course,
So
get it. So
fly to some city, maybe that is Los Angeles or New York, and then how I travel from this city to another city, which mean of transport.
actually, let me say something about, so of course, so let me briefly talk about it. So this is your question, so let me briefly talk about. So as you know, in the US, there are different states, and actually we have different, you know, time difference in different space. Some, you know, for example, some areas 4 hours different. So you can guess how long, okay, so they are from each other, so how far they are. So it depends where you want to go, or for example, from this one state to another state. So normally you, for example, from Chicago to for California to Los Angeles, for example, it takes about maybe 27 hours. So by actually maybe public transport, okay, by car, so it's better not to use because it can be very tiring. But for example, it's better to get on plane and travel by plane, so it's faster. But actually, if you talk about the city, for example, if you travel from one destination to another place in city, for example, it depends again. It depends. So in country, if there is railway, of course, that's great. So for example, in Los Angeles, okay, so metro rail or subway is common to use. So you can actually something like express bus and for example, subway or metro rail, or for example, you can connect to downtown using this public transport. But as I told you, it depends on the city or state that you're gonna travel. But normally public transport is really, common, usable, and most of people is something like, and we have a culture, let me say something. We have a culture about it. So for example, we can say sophisticated people, like, cultured people normally use public transport to travel somewhere. So it can be, but normally subway, because we have subway everywhere, and just this. And for example, sometimes like, express bus lines too, for example, that connect to downtown and somewhere like this. Well, but of course, if no, you can rent car, so it's good. So if you want, you can rent, because of course you don't have your license there, so you need to change your license and it takes time and lots of paperwork. So you can do something like renting car. Well, okay. And now let me check. Okay, any other question?
No, thanks.
You're welcome. Well, so as you can see, do you think you have the same thing on your book? So I checked. What do you think? Or do you think? Do you think? You may hear this word. Let me write it. Reckon. I reckon. It means I think. So it's common, usable. So if you heard this somewhere, it means I think. I reckon. I hear. I think. So it's really normal to use. So you can have this synonym. Okay, well, what do you think? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Do you have, but what do you think is okay? Do you have any idea is better? But as I told you, you can use all these alternatives. So no matter, okay? But we say something like good and better. For example, as I told you before, when we want to open the lid of something, jar or tin or something else. Some people, especially teachers nowadays, that is something like, I don't know, it's really toxic and boring. For example, we see they teach something that is not really usable. For example, okay, twist open it. Or for example, different phrases when you want to say open the lid. But there is something we say. We say open the lid, and no matter. We normally say because. If someone says it's okay, we say, great, thank you, you know everything. So that's what, if no, for example, when you're really tired, you don't say, okay, for example, honey, please twist open the jar. No, just open it, just this. So I want to say that take it easy. English is really easy. People try to make it confusing. It's not. It's really easy. Well, and okay, so I think we discussed all this actually. So let me check everything. If there is something else about asking for information, I don't think so.
I had one question, please.
Of course.
Yeah. My sister said that the public transportation in the US is not safe as in European or in Australia. because in Europe and in Australia, almost all kind of people they use the public transport.
Of course.
Yeah, but in the U.S., um, from average income people,
Mhm.
they have their own car and they rarely use the public transport. Most of the people with low income they use the public transport. So uh, that's why when we use the public transportation is not safe as in the Europe. How do you think about that?
Okay, so let me say something about, may I ask where your sister live? Because live, so that's really important because of this.
Oh, mm, when she studied in America, she studied in some different state,
Of
and
course.
in one hospital, the doctor told her that you can because she went to the hospital and back by bus, but the doctor told her that you can use this line, but you cannot go to that place by bus. It's dangerous.
Of course. Let me say, first of all, working class people, people who need to work to spend and to earn money to spend and to make living. So that's really important to know. As I told you, it depends where the destination is. So for example, in New York, there are some places that are really dangerous. Okay, so we say that no, don't go. But if you go, it's your choice. About public transport, when we say safe, I can say that most of people, especially actually in urban areas, not country, I'm not talking about country or countryside. So more, I can say in urban areas where actually I think people, an average of people who take the trips by bus or train, it's about can be about 40%. I'm not sure, but it can be about 40%. So most of because of traffic and it's something like, and there are more car accidents, okay, than actually public transport accidents, something like bus or train. So they are safer. But about if you mean about something like pickpocketing or like this, I can say yes, but uh, not as much as you avoid actually using public transport. And it depends. So the area that you want to go, so it's really important, not, but of course it can be really crowded sometimes because of working class people. People can't afford, as cost of living in the US is really high, especially in urban areas. Of course, not all states, so maybe a bit higher, a bit lower, but I can say that people need to work a lot to live. Okay, so they need to. But I think that yes, some areas, but not. I'm not. For example, I've used for when I was younger, when I actually started and before I graduated from university, of course, most of university students are used to actually using public transport nowadays, and of course they used to use in the past. So I don't think so. Of course, as I told you, I don't know where your sister live, for example, the destination. Of course, every country, every country, and as I told you, we have different, for example, Texas, for example, New York, different states, different cultures, different people. So you may take some risk when, and most of them I think is pickpocketing. So I can say the most important is pickpocketing. But no, people still use public transport. And for example, sometimes some we can say like artists, as I told you, it's kind of culture, because as you said, most of people used to think that, okay, public transport is only for something like working class people. No, nowadays, no. Now it's different. No, normally people use, and I don't think it's dangerous.
So now in America, the working class people, they use public transportation to go to the company, or they use their own car.
Of course they use. It depends. For example, when you want to go somewhere and actually you will get stuck in traffic. Why? Of course, especially railway, especially subway. Yeah, of course, is really usable. Yeah. And there is, as I told you, for example, when you own a car, I'm talking about, some areas, of course, I don't know for what people do. And I don't know, for example, some other countryside. For example, I'm talking about my area and the areas that I was born, I lived. And now I want to say that they use, and sometimes people would prefer not to use their own cars. For example, if they want to go shopping, walking, or sometimes, for example, not using, if it's not too far, so walking is the best way. It's something like a part of culture. Okay, but people, yes, people use subway, because they have to, they have to. So it's really normal, but danger, of course, risk is everywhere. So something happen. So we need to know where to go, and the time. Time is really important. For example, okay, so you want to go to downtown to New York, for example, it's like, some I can say areas, and say, okay, it's too late. Okay, and say, okay, I go no matter. Yes, it's matter. So you need to be careful, but not everywhere. I think it's safe, can be considered as safe. Yeah, I haven't experienced. I haven't experienced any pickpocketing because I used. Well, okay. Do you have any other question that I can help?
That's why I don't dare to go to America, because I like go everywhere by myself. But if I go to America, my relatives might take me by car to different places, and I don't want uh, to lean on another people.
No
I
worries,
prefer
you can
to go.
travel. You can travel, no worries. You can travel, and you can use public transport, so no worries. Most of people are using, and there is no matter, so don't think about it. So as I told you, when you leave uh, somewhere, people have different opinion, different ideas. Maybe they experienced something before, maybe they've experienced something before that you haven't. So you have different opinions on the same topic, the same issue. Because of this, I said that actually it's not something like, I haven't experienced, so I said no, most of people use. So, but of course, you can. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, believe me, you can. You can use public transport in the US. It's okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Especially for example, if you want to travel, California is a really good state. So yeah, come to California. It's really good. Yeah, LA, good. So it's really safe. So it's okay. Well, okay, let me check. But if you have any other question,
How
you can.
about New York and Texas?
Okay, so I don't have any idea about Texas because I haven't lived there. So I know there. But about New York, you know why New York is New York? You know why actually we say New York? Okay, let me say something. As you know, uh, it's really, I can say, yeah, overpopulated, I think, city. So, but I can say that crime rate, comparing the number of people who live in New York, it's low. Okay, so I can say that New York can be considered as one of the safest big city in the US, because we have, for example, California, and we have New York and San Diego, so different states that I know. So they're really safe. They're really safe because, but let me say something. New York, there's some areas that people from different countries all around the world, immigrate and leave. They'd rather leave New York. So when you, for example, we have Chinese area, we have, for example, some other areas, and something, for example, Asian neighborhood is something like this in New York. So you see multicultural city. So New York is something like multinational, like multicultural. Okay. So when you travel in New York, I think, of course, as I told you, some areas, that's really normal. That's really normal everywhere, actually. Uh, can be something like, can contain these type of places and areas. But we can say that, if I want to rank them from the safest, New York can be one of the safest places to live. So because of this, for example, for students who want to study, okay, because New York has the lowest crime rates, actually, among, because this is, as you know, it's metropolitan. So it means metropolitan, including different cultures, people from different countries. So among major and very big metropolitan cities, New York is very safe. So just travel there without thinking about danger and anything. It's too safe.
So how about San Francisco?
Okay, about San Francisco, I can say anything about it because, as I told you, when we say, for example, California, it's something like you have a map, and, every area is far from the other area. So I can't say anything about it. I haven't heard something like, I don't know, crime rate or something that, I haven't heard, but let me think. I don't think so. If I want to say, as New York safe as New York, I say New York is safer than San Francisco. But if I say that, yeah, it's safe. Yeah, of course. But there are some, actually, let me say something, because there are, maybe it's not gossip, it's real. So let me be honest. Actually, San Francisco has a low, violent crime rate, but you need to, if you travel, you need to actually be aware of some things. For example, there is something important that you need to know. If you travel there, please be careful about walking at night, as I told you, after a specific time around the city. Don't do this if you want to. For example, most of tourists, we say that they don't know, and they go to, actually, ATM and convenience store at night, but San Francisco is not, enough safe to do, safe enough to do this. Okay, so avoid. If you don't do this, it's okay. It's safe place, of course. I haven't lived there, so I can't give you very actually accurate information like, for example, California or New York. But, I can say that, no, avoid. If you can see, you be aware of, the area and, for example, the time, no, it's okay. But at night, yeah, you may face something really dangerous there. Especially, something like, not something like kidnapping, no, pickpocketing, or I don't know, something like uh, mugging or something like this. It's normal. Yeah, I talked a lot. So don't travel, don't travel to, you're welcome. So don't travel to San Francisco. Come to California. It's a better place to visit. So, okay. So, but if you have any other question, I will be really happy to help. Of course, if I can, it's something if you want to ask me anything, and I'm here to answer. So, any other questions?
Yeah, yeah, that's enough for today.
Of course, of course. And yeah, time is over, so we need to go. Okay, time to go. And thank you again. It was really good time with you. And thank you for sharing your information. That was really good. And see you
Yeah.
next session. Let me say something. I will send you a topic, and I want you to, if you have time, would you write about it and send your writing to me, because I want to assess your writing, so I want to check something.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I will do this, and I really appreciate if you do that. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so
you
much.
very much for your information.
Welcome. You're welcome. Have a good day and goodbye.
You too. See you next week.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.